miscommunication is the source of all the conflict. Communication is also something very, very actionable. Like anyone can be better at communication. It's not like you can do 10 pull-ups and I can do 10 pull-ups if we train. Can both of us go to 100 pull-ups no matter how much we train? I'm not sure. But there are people on the planet whose muscles are built in such a way that they can do 100 pull-ups as if nothing happened, walk away. A lot of those things are not trainable. Communication is definitely trainable, coachable, and anyone can be a better communicator than we all are today. I see it as a very critical piece for many reasons. But main reasons are, number one, it is the source of all the conflict that exists. Because if people really communicated properly, they would have come down to something that is, I love to quote hip hop artists. And then Jay-Z said, either love me or leave me alone. Either they would just leave each other alone or have something fruitful between themselves. What we have today, people don't leave each other alone. And they start fighting in this relationship. And that spans across everything, your work, your personal life. Pick any type of relationship, people would fight for no good reason. And the second main reason is that anyone can act on that, anyone can become better at that. I'm not asking people to learn differential math. I'm not asking people to learn to paint like Picasso did. It's not necessarily possible, but we can all be better communicators.
It was actually a source of optimism as you were explaining it. I was coming around to the idea that that is a huge bottleneck in the thought experiment that we are all perfect communicators. That's solvable. That is a cheap solution if we are willing and able to kind of go through this learning process of becoming better communicators.
There is a very short story called Specialist by Robert Sheckley. And it's a beautiful book that I will send you a link after. It's a very, very short story. It's about communication. The point is aliens land on Earth for whatever reasons, and they look at what's going on, and they conclude that humanity is still in the conflict phase of their civilization. They're still arguing and quarreling instead of cooperating together, and basically there is no point of trying to establish contact, because they're still in this nascency of civilization, in the crib of civilization, because we still argue about stuff. I think honest to God answer is my frustration with how certain relationships played out in my life, whether it's business or personal relationships, have made me focused a lot on communication. My absolute love for negotiations have really forced me to learn a lot about communication, how to do it properly. Being a good communicator always comes from genuine interest. If there was no genuine interest from you to me and from me to you, this podcast would have never happened. Some people pick up formal rules of communication and never really come off as genuine, and that doesn't work. As pretty much with anything else in life, it's your personal traumatic experience in the past, whether it's an abusive girlfriend or whether it's an irritable boss. All of us have seen situations when just a little bit of effort on communication layer would have helped. My wife and I would talk about everything and anything. We're not one of the couple that is like, oh, you didn't wash your dishes, but you 3 years ago didn't put the laundry in, and you 5 years before that. The tiny, tiny speck of incident kind of starts unraveling these layers and layers of mutual grief towards each other. When I see that there is no understanding with the person, I would just address it heads on. I would be like, look, we cannot communicate. There is no way for us to properly communicate. So we either should end this relationship now forever, or we should sit down like two freaking adults and then talk about what exactly is going wrong. But just throwing feces at each other doesn't really work if we're trying to build something. So my idealism, my belief that we all can be better people at the end of the day, that humanity can be a better version of itself, is what drives my passion towards communication.